So I wanted to do this video for basically partnerships in business, early stage and later stage. And how I would approach, partnerships in business for people who are kind of starting out. This is kind of the early stage, and then people who are a little bit more seasoned, maybe going into their second or third business. Um, But typically, early stage partnerships, you're getting two people who don't have a lot of skill, right? If it's your first venture. Um, I did this with, my e-commerce business partner, where we both started pretty raw, where we really had no skill, right? We were all learning everything from scratch, and uh, we really had nothing to bring to the table except hustle and whatever our natural inclinations were, as well as what we brought from previous job experience, life experience, whatever, and just natural ability, right? Um, that's kind of all you bring. So I think the early part, when you're considering partnering with someone at the beginning of your business journey, what you're trying to actually look for is more of a personality um, mix, right? So example would be, my e-commerce business partner, who I have built two eight-figure brands with. We have an interesting personality mix where I would say I'm kind of, slightly more dominant. He is a little bit more kind of laid back and chill. He has a really high work ethic, that I do as well. So there's no kind of question, he's not working, I'm not working, that kind of thing. We both have a strong work ethic. But the personality bodes really well where decisions get made and things get done, because of that personality mix, right? So this is kind of what you're looking for early stage. So the first thing is you want to figure out, like, is this person going to have the same work ethic as me, when you have no skills? How do our personalities mold together when things get tough? If one person is a little bit more like scattered and ADHD, and can potentially be a little bit more distracted, looking at different opportunities. Sometimes it's better to pair that person with someone who is a little bit more relaxed, focused, who can kind of just stay the course, right? Same again, if one person really enjoys working with people, managing whatever, and the other person is more of kind of like a visionary, doing their own thing but leading the strategy. Again, that's a good personality mix to bring together early. Now, sometimes it's really hard to tell, um, when you're early, right? It's very difficult to tell because everyone's going to say, "Yeah, I'm going to work hard. I'm going to work hard," and then a month in, when you've got you in the red every day, or something's not selling, or shit's not working, which does happen early, especially when you suck at business. Uh, that same person is probably going to pull the plug, right? So you're wanting to look at previous to business. Did they have kind of anything in their life that would suggest they had high agency and work ethic? So, again, taking the example of my business partner, we both went to, like a select entry high school, which means you have to take an exam to get into the school. I go, okay, so he's smart. Uh, he always played sport. He kept himself very fit and healthy. He was disciplined. Okay, that's good. He too. So I know he's smart. I know he's super disciplined when he cares about something. And basically, he was kind of running the show at his parents' restaurant prior to, starting the ecom business that we had, right? His parents owned a small restaurant, and he pretty much ran that whole business, for them, right? So he kind of already had demonstrated history. So it was worth making the bet on, even though we really had no specific e-commerce skill set, right? But this is super, super important because a lot of people get fucked up in business partnerships when, um, the personality mix is right off, or one person is working a lot of hours and the other person isn't. Now, this changes when it's later stage, but early stage, when you both really bring nothing to the table except raw grit and hustle, you really need this to be on point. This is something that's, very important. Now, when you go into later stage, what I like to look at is more of a probably skill, uh, or relationships difference, right? So I think it's more with skills relationships because it's assumed, right? If it's your second, your third, or your fourth venture, it's probably assumed that you already have some leverage in the marketplace. Potentially, you've got some capital saved up. Um, Maybe you don't. Maybe you wiped out, which is fine. Um, but it's assumed you have some skills, you have some relationships, some contacts, some different things, and this is where I think this becomes more of a focus when you're bringing in two people or even more together. And really, what you're trying to do here is you're trying to get force multiplier skills and relationships. Now, what do I mean here? Let's take a let's just take a basic e-commerce business, a supplements e-commerce business, right? You know, it's 8 SKUs, outsourced manufacturing, outsourced 3PL, right? So the edge here is distribution. It's product and distribution. So when you're looking at potential partnerships, it's probably not the best if you're say, elite at paid traffic. You're probably not going to get a force multiplying partnership from someone who is good at, say, operations, dialing in the customer service, making sure bills are paid on time, all of that part, because realistically, your 3PL is going to be shipping the orders out for you and someone else is making the product. The operations isn't that complex in this kind of business. So when you're partnering up, you're probably not, it's not worth giving away 50% equity, for someone who's going to be in operations and paid traffic. Where is it worth giving away some equity? When you're dealing with force multiplying skills. So a good example would be, maybe you have a friend who he lives in LA, he's big with the influencers and celebrities, and he can get you 4 or 5 key partnerships that are going to differentiate, your brand. Maybe that's when it's worth giving equity. Maybe you're really skilled at paid traffic, but someone else is very skilled at organic and making things go viral. Now that's going to feed each other. The organic content is going to make your paid ads better, um, and it's going to feed in your paid ads, and then you've basically got two distribution flywheels. What would be another example of this? Maybe someone is elite at retail, right? It's a whole other channel. It's completely different to Amazon, to organic, to selling online. But they have contacts to get you into every Walmart in America because they've built and sold a brand previously and can get you into retail. That's when it's worth giving away equity because it's a force multiplier. Now, it's very business dependent. Let's take a different business. Now, let's say I had a tree business where I had a farm and I grew and sold trees on a farm direct to consumer. Now, this is a very operationally complex business. Okay, so one of the edges in this business will be operations. For this business, the edge is not going to be operations because operationally it's quite simple. For this business, the edge, will be operations. So then maybe it is worth partnering with someone who is a operations autist while you run the paid ads and traffic or whatever your skill set may be. So this kind of skill set matching, it's very business dependent. It's going to vary whether you do like a consumer brand, whether you start doing affiliate marketing, whether you start a B2B business, um, whatever it may be. So you kind of have to look at each business, what the unique edges of that business, which I've done a video about, and then okay, well, if I get two of these skills and put them together, is it going to be more than a 2x? For a supplements business, if you put paid ads and organic together, it's more than a 2x because they both feed each other and they're both separate distribution systems. Um, let's say you're building a hardware company, right? Product is incredibly important. You get a product nerd and you get a marketer. Again, that's more than a 2x because they're both going to feed each other. Um, it's very business dependent. So yeah, that's basically the end of the video. Just something to think about as you potentially enter new businesses for those kind of starting second or third businesses or with a bit more experience and skills and whatever under their belt. And those basically early stage where you have nothing to bring to the table, it's literally all this. Who's going to hustle? Who's going to drive? who's going to have a high work ethic, who's already just kind of smart that that you can partner up with. Maybe they're not skilled, but they acquire skills quickly, and they're not half retarded. So yeah, that's just my kind of philosophy and how I think about new partnerships in business.